We are ready to go. Well, machine. We will go ahead and call the meeting to order and start with pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a quorum. We have the consent agenda with the minutes from November 22nd and the copies of the Township credit card statements. Just need a motion to approve or?
I didn't have changes. Do you have any changes?
No changes. What?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we will move into the public hearing for the additional appropriations. That's right, we will start a clock for public comment. Down now.
Can you open the 301?
Yes, sir.
301, yeah.
Can you sign the consent agenda?
Where's the consent? Minutes. Yeah, they're not for those,
Oh, this is,
Can we just sign all these? Can we just sign this?
Okay. Okay, we are over a minute on that, with no additional comment, so we'll move into the liaison reports. Hopefully, sign the appropriations.
Okay, Town of Avon, the the December 1st meeting, a lot of administrative stuff, year-end stuff, like we're gonna be addressing this afternoon, was on their agenda. They do have another meeting tonight. And one of the things that I noticed on the agenda for tonight is to discuss an intent of an interest in a real estate purchase. So.
School update.
Yep, I do have a little bit of a school update. At the board meeting on Monday, it looks like they approved model number 3 for their strategic growth plan, which will eliminate intermediate schools, and they will build a new middle school for the 25-26 school year. That's all I have.
I don't have anything from the library, do you? Okay, we'll move on to department reports, township assistance.
so for the month of November, it was $8,953 pledged, year to date, $46,695. Granted was $6522, $26,120 year to date. And denied $27,858 with a total of $165,377 denied year to date.
And then human resources.
Hello. So we had one new EMT hire in November. We were supposed to have 2, but one got pushed back for various different reasons. So he started in December. That was an actual paramedic. And then we have one more EMT scheduled for January so far. And we just got a few new applications that they're still going through. So hopefully they're good and we'll get full on the MSA.
Okay. Any other big openings?
Big openings? No.
Okay.
Nope, not at this time.
Awesome. All right. Community engagement.
By the way, this will be her last report of that initial individual.
Officially report.
Yeah, it should be part of it.
Yeah, we need to clarify that.
Yeah, we continued with the Citizens Academy. We just had our 6th class on Tuesday, and that's going well. The Polar Express event was a pretty big event for the park. We had, 370 people registered for that event. We had our annual Christmas party that we just got done for all of our employees, and then we've already been promoting everything that's coming in 2023 for the parks, which is a lot. So we've been kind of busy wrapping up 2022 and ready to start going strong with 2023.
Okay. Thank you. Gives anybody.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec. Recreation.
All right, last month was our annual IPRA conference, and it was really nice to see Murphy was pretty much everywhere on pamphlets, vendors, all over the place. It was great to kind of talk to people. A lot of people are moving towards the inclusive recreation, which was our goal all along. So that was really awesome to hear. Plus our staff had 4 separate sessions that we taught at the conference. So that was kind of neat. That's the most we've ever done. Then we also, the month of November is when we open the ice rink. Just like Karen mentioned, we've had some pretty successful events going on at the ice rink. People are having a really good time. They love the new addition of the igloos, so that's been really fun too. And so we are working right now on updating our skate aids and making them a little bit taller as well. And people are really enjoying themselves out there. And then I know I put in here that we were supposed to hear by last Friday about the Lily Camp, but they did ask for an extension, which I still feel pretty confident about. We've had 3 interviews now for the Lily Science Camp, and all of them have been really great. I think it's just a tough decision to leave somebody that you've used for the last 20 years. So they did an extension of January 9th, so we're just patiently waiting. Other than that, our revenue looks really great for November. That's the highest our November has ever been. And so I'm expecting in December that's the highest we've ever been, and wrap up the year really strong. You can see in there we did sell some passes and some rentals for Murphy for next year over Black Friday. So you'll see that in the revenue report too. We also added a 10 punch pass. But we put that under the, I believe we put that under passes. And so that's just something new that we're adding is this 10 punch pass. So instead of people buying a gift card or vouchers, they can buy this pass and then they can send the whole family and it's a little bit of a discount. Any questions?
I just had one comment to make. I want to thank your staff for putting together the P&L for Murphy Park, and just want to report that it was the operations were definitely in the black by in the neighborhood of $70,000 for the year. So that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure happened, and the staff did a great job of making sure that it did. So.
And thank you to Britt for helping get that put together too. That was really helpful. She does, most people don't know, she actually will send each department a month by month what you've spent, what you've made. And I'm sure that's time consuming for her, but it really helps us out a lot.
Good.
Any other questions? No, thank you.
Well, before that, congratulations.
Thank you.
On the Employee of the Year award.
Thank you.
Fire board.
Good afternoon. I put my report, it was with great delight that I got to write my last report to the board. I did have the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to go to Columbus, Ohio and pick up our new medic we've been waiting forever for. It was delivered. It's our vendors right now. And while we're there, I got an update on a remount that we had scheduled. They're actually both going to get delivered about the same time. As you know, you guys approved us buying 2 chassis so that we could do our remounts. and get ahead of the game a little bit. So the other chassis is already on site, it's delivered. So they'll start working on that as soon as we take delivery on the 2 new units. They'll be starting on. Right after I was there, we had our spec committee made a trip to Florida to do the pre-bid work on our Quint that we have ordered. How long are they staying now, Jason, on that?
Their current build time on a ladder truck is 780 days.
Okay. So, and that's once it's on the line, okay? Correct? Jason?
I'm sorry,
That's once it's on the line, though, correct?
that's from the time of, no, that's from the time
Time
of
of
signing.
signature?
the contract.
Okay.
Ours is 720 days.
Okay.
So
Oh.
it's a little bit less.
Oh, man, we're gonna get a lot quicker than we thought. It's only gonna take 2 years. So, anyway, they finished that and did some final work on the engine that we previously spec'd. Put in the report that I did have the chance, Ashley talked about that we hired a new civilian paramedic, and I had the chance to do some training with him a couple of weeks ago. So that was good, and I think we're only one shy now of being full. So once we get that last person hired, we can get the EDO program up and running. So hopefully by the end of the month, we'll be able to get that done. Put in the report, one of the things that I've strived since, seems like for 12 years, was the ability for us to put motion detectors in our bays and stations. One of the things I've always noticed was at nighttime when the guys go out to make runs in the middle of the night, the lights get turned on, and middle of the night they get back, they just go back and go to bed and they forget about the lights. So we were using a lot of power consumption in the bays. So just recently, support services finished putting motion detectors in all of our bays. So all of our stations now have motion detectors in the bays, so it should help us with energy consumption costs. Let's see, I think last thing I really wanted to touch on, I'll go ahead and read the people that I wanted to recognize for this month, and it was Lieutenant Jim Easton, chauffeur Doug Dickerson, paramedic, firefighter paramedic John Myers, and firefighter EMT Zach Griffith. And this is the write-up that was put in the Guardian. On 12/1 of 22, a resident came to headquarters to express their gratitude to the fire department for responding to a garage fire at his home at 03:30 hours on 11/30/22. Engine 143 was dispatched for a trash fire. When they arrived, they noted a large pile of sawdust was on fire and quickly extinguished the fire. J.R. Mears, the president, came to express his appreciation for the professionalism, positive attitude, and quick action of the crews. Although I'm not in a position to oversee fire operations, I was the one who was able to speak with a resident. He had quite a smile on his face and showed that he was truly grateful for the quick actions of the crew. Everyday operations for us always seem routine, but for the residents we serve, it can and does mean a lot more. I'm truly grateful to work with such great and the best fire EMS personnel in the business. Thank you for setting a great example for the department. So I think that was a great write-up. And at the end, I wanted to thank the trustee and the board for the support that you guys have provided to the fire department for the 12 years. I know you guys haven't been here for 12, but Don put me in a position he did 12 years ago, and I've expressed to him many times my appreciation for his support of me and backing me, but he and I couldn't even have done the things that we've done in the last 12 years without the support of the board. So you guys have been a big part of that too. So I wanted to express my appreciation to each of you for your support for the department over my years that you've been on the board. So, thank you. Any questions?
Well, thanks to you. Just retirement's kind of close.
Coming in? Yes.
Thank you. All right, Don.
Other than about this meeting, the only other thing would be the Township Christmas party. Christmas party was last Friday, was well attended, paid for by sponsorship money. And of course, Laura was selected as the 2022 Township Employee of the Year. So we had 10 nominees, and all 10 of them were well deserving of the nomination, and that's a big deal when their peers, take the time to fill out a form and say why that person should be selected to be the township employee. So the rest of my remarks, I'm gonna leave to Chris.
Okay. All right, any other questions for that?
No?
Okay. The only thing I would say is thank you, Don, for your years of service. This is your last trustee report, so I'll add something later too. Okay, no real old business. Moving on to new business. The certification of conflict of interest and that is included by trustee and board members.
You want to acknowledge that you got everybody's up for that? That'll be in the day.
The airport's so goodbye. Very official break.
All
I
four,
read that, like last board meeting, and they're filed in the drawer.
Okay, thank you.
you'll be there for the state board council and come and do an audit. So.
Awesome. All right, first up is resolution 121522-01, 2023 Township Board Meeting Calendar.
We may have to start numbering these. I don't think I never gave the resolution, to be honest with you. This is the meetings that you, along with the incoming trustee, selected to be your regular scheduled meetings. Obviously, you're allowed to have other meetings, special meetings, etc. But this will be the calendar that will, after today, will be published to the public, so they know when next year's meetings are, starting January 3rd.
Okay.
I move we adopt resolution 12-15-22-01, Washington Township Board Meeting Calendar for 2023.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, next up, we have resolution 121522-02, authorization for use of township credit cards.
So townships are allowed to use a credit card. The State Board of Accounts in the state of Indiana require, however, for the township board to do that authorization, designated who that's with, what the limits are, how many cards, who are the users, et cetera, so, and the rules of government. So this resolution is doing all that. You'll have 4 cards, large balance card, small balance card for the township, one for fire, one for parks. With the limits being $7,500 for all of them except for the large balance cards being $10,000. And then the list of controllers with the large and small balance being the trustee or the fire admin assistant, or excuse me, I'm sorry, the deputy trustee. And then the controller for the park is the parks director and assistant director. And then with the fire, it's the fire chief and the fire admin assistant. So, and also the fire admin assistants also control on those large and small balance cards. That's what that resolution does.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve resolution number 121522-02, resolution of the Township Board authorizing the use of credit cards.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, we have resolution 121522-03, group transfer.
So when the budgets are set up, they each of the funds are broken down by groups. The board is allowed, usually it's done at the end of the year to do transfers within those funds, like between personnel services to supplies or supplies to other services and charges, et cetera. So these figures have all been put together by the deputy trustee, and I've reviewed them, and I'm okay with it. And I'm recommending the group transfer. With that, and then the final thing will be the last day the office is open. She and I will do what's called a trustee memo to write direct her the line items within a group to move money. So the whole objective is we cannot allow any line item to end with a negative balance.
Right.
That's why these steps are taken.
I move we adopt resolution 121522-03, resolution of the Washington Township Board authorizing appropriation funds to be transferred to from groups within a specific fund.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, motion The resolution passes, sorry. All right. Resolution 121522-04, additional appropriations.
So the additional appropriations were, first of all, advertised in the Republican. They were done on November the 24th. Today you had your hearing, and now we're asking you to approve the additional appropriations. There's two different funds that will be affected. One will be the general fund for $553,000 additional. That will cover the purchase, if you approve the purchase of the property for possible future fire station, and also for the van, for the special transportation. The other one is for the Park and Recreation Fund for $337,161, and that's for them to have money for the additional, because with making all the money they did, they had additional costs, et cetera. So this will allow them to end the year in a positive manner too.
So these are separate resolutions, right?
No,
That's all.
Some resolution.
One.
Yeah, that was advertised that way too.
I will make a motion to approve resolution number 121522-04 with all outlined additional appropriations.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
With that resolution was the advertisement that Jeff put together, fit Jeff Peters, and then also the breakout of the funds covered. So
Okay, next up, we have resolution 121522-05, authorization to purchase property at 7040 Governor's Road, Avon, Indiana.
So, as you know, Deputy Chief Porter came to you before and talked about the possible need for a future fire station down the road for response times, critical down in that section of the township. We have looked and had our realtor who helps us, look for additional land. We talked to the town, worked with Ryan and Cannon on possible land. And the property we come up with is the one at the Governor's Road. And we did a survey on that, and we also, there were covenants that were in place on that, which the owner of that development did write us out of those covenants as long as we own the property. If we ever sell the property, it goes back, then those covenants will go back on. Mike, did you hear that right, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jeff has reviewed it, and we're making a recommendation to proceed, and that we just approve the funds to cover that with the additional appropriations.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Need a motion to.
Okay. I move we adopt resolution 121522-05, resolution of the Township Board to acquire property at 7040 Governor's Road.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
The closing one is next week for that property,
Okay.
depending on whether you guys approve this year.
Okay, next up is resolution 121522-06, approval of an agreement with Henry County Senior Services.
So we talked about before, or I talked about before, doing a special type of transportation for folks in the township who are unable to drive because they don't have a license, so yet they, because of their special needs situation, that they're working or have needs in it. So we've come up with a plan, and I did involve the two trustee candidates before the election on this, and they worked with us too in putting together a program for 2 years, which would be with Senior Services, would take care of taking care of that van as far as scheduling people and that type of thing. We would own the van if you approve it later on here in this and that other resolution. And then this is the proposed agreement. We did send this over to Senior Services with the recommended changes from our attorney. And I hadn't heard back yet, so Maureen, were you okay with that?
Well, I haven't heard back from our attorney either.
Okay.
So I got this about a week ago. I don't see that there's any changes. I would love to have gotten that, I don't see that we have recommended changes, but would have loved to have gotten that finalized. I knew you needed to proceed anyway, Don, so.
So, if you're okay with giving the authorization, then we'll need to get this done fairly quickly this year, so, that would be, you know, as long, I'll send it back, if they have any recommended changes, I'll send it back to Jeff Bellamy, and then if Bellamy's okay with it, then fine, if not, then it'll carry over to the next term.
So are we okay to approve it minus any substantial changes in some form of addendum or?
I think you're okay to approve it subject to an acceptable agreement for which the three of us,
Okay.
you, Don, and I have been working on, and then we'll change that triangle. I would hope that we're awfully close.
And there's another not so intelligent question, but I did ask him, if somebody were to sit on both boards, would they be able to vote on this? Hypothetically.
I don't think so. Okay.
What do you mean?
Is that you?
I don't think it's.
I would recommend that, if possible, because you actually helped in
Right.
putting this together, abstain from the other.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so when we do this resolution, do we need to say subject to any changes?
Subject to the completion of the contract draft, which is attached.
Okay, all right, so I will make a motion to approve resolution 121522-06, resolution of the Township Board permitting contract with Hendricks County Senior Services, subject to the finalization of the attached contract with legal.
Second?
I would say motion carries because I have to abstain, so two to
Okay, there you go, okay.
mathematically. So. Would you abstain on here?
With that, you also had your safety guidelines that were covering that thing.
I did have a couple of questions, and maybe this is something that you could work out. On the pricing of the services, the $5 that's charged, where do those funds go? Do they stay with senior services? Do they go to the township? I think it's just silent. It just doesn't say.
I think we need to narrow that down, and that's something that was discussed during the amendments. My impression is they ought to just take it, offset it against their operations, because the way we've agreed and view this is, we're going to acquire this device, this vehicle, and allow them to use it to alleviate some transport problems that we heard talk about in the summer of folks that might be an employment barrier. People that can't get employment show up in the other report from earlier in the discussion for assistance. So I would recommend that they just keep the fares, but on the other side of it, what we have tried to do in making clear, it wasn't unclear, just make clear in the agreement that the extent of our involvement is the acquisition of the vehicle, and that's it.
Okay.
The operations are upon them, and the liability associated is upon them.
And I'm not opposed to that. It was just silent in the agreement. So that's why I asked the question.
I saw the same thing, and I commend your vision on that.
So one thing, Jeff, though, I believe in the agreement too, is the township is paying them fees that we have budgeted, for next year's budget, so.
Right.
You would, probably needs to be in the agreement where those fees would offset that amount that the senior services invoices the township for.
So we need to get that finalized.
We need to clarify the nature of any money going back and forth, minimize how much checks are going back and forth.
Right.
And we'll do that in the final.
Okay, next up is the resolution 121522-07, purchase of the 2019 Dodge Grand Caravan.
That is for the purchase of the van. I'll give you a copy of the invoice and everything that he provided. So that was the funds for that are covered in that additional appropriation. The incentive for the senior services to get us that agreement back, I personally will hold off purchasing that van until we know we have something. I don't go buy a van, then we're gonna have to come up some use for that van,
Perfect.
special type of van.
I move we adopt resolution 121522-07, authorizing the purchase of a 2019 Dodge Grand Caravan GT mobility vehicle.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, resolution 121522-08, township mandated internal controls.
So as required by law and state board of accounts, every year, all taxing entities have to come up with mandated internal controls. They're drawn up by the fiscal officer and also the fiscal body that, in part of that resolution names an oversight board. So the first thing you'd be doing is naming that oversight board, which could be also the township board, which is what we've been doing in the past. The rest of it indicates the directives and the different things we have to follow. And then part of that too is a memo from me certifying who got trained under this year's mandated internal controls, and it's actually the state required training. So that's what all that paperwork is for. So the first thing you need to do is name an oversight board before you proceed with.
So question on it, there's
Yeah,
two
sets,
resolutions.
but it's all one resolution.
Okay.
It's all one resolution.
Okay.
And are we just doing ourselves again?
I think that's what we had done in the past.
You good with that, Shane?
Yeah,
Put that in here.
you put that in there, and then you can have a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 121522-08, resolution of the township board regarding the system of internal accounting control and the designation of the oversight committee as the current township board.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Make sure you sign all the different places.
Yeah, there's two spots there. Okay, next up is resolution 121522-09, 2023 township salary resolution.
So this is the salary resolution for next year. I'm sure there may be times we may have to amend it, if history holds true. But this outlines the various positions within that we have. It talks about how many positions up to that you can pay for. Doesn't mean you're gonna hire that many. The rate of compensation, whether it's bi-weekly or annually or hourly, and it also indicates the retirement classes for each position. So this is for the elected officials and all the different employees in the township, including the civilian fire safety board. So,
Are there any changes on here from the last time we amended?
I think that would be the,
Pay rates to 23.
Okay, so just, which we had already discussed.
There's a few positions where we added additional numbers to it, like lifeguards.
Okay. But nothing significant, like an additional position or anything like that.
the pay ranges reflect the budget, what you budget.
Right, right.
Each of those. Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 121522-09, amending salaries of township officers and employees.
Second? Sorry. All those in here looking at paperwork. Sorry about that.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next up is resolution 121522-10 EMS write-offs.
So you are allowed, by state statute to do write-offs. And write-offs for EMS come under basically different categories. And we established this back in 2011, and then we also in another authorization later on. We've done it off and on. Basically, the circumstances are where there's a deceased has no assets or where the estate's already closed, where it's a small balance of $25 or less remains and the write-off is proposed by the trustee, where the person is indigent and the write-off is proposed by the trustee, where the outstanding balance is past the statute of limitations for Indiana, debt collection, which in Indiana right now is currently 6 years, and where there is an unusual specific case submitted by the trustee to the board for approval. And that the EMS chief and the trustee will state what period of time they're talking about. For this one, it'll be from November 1 of 2021 through October 31st of 2022. And the amount in the letter is for $434,579.72. And our billing company has provided a month-by-month report of bad debt that totals up to that figure. Chief Strader and I are recommending that you write off the amount.
Just one question on this, and I probably asked it before. What is a benchmark for this? And if you look at gross charges and then the bad debt kind of write-off piece, we're looking at, let's just say,
Ratio, you mean, is
8%. I mean, is 8% a benchmark for that? Is that no. Like nobody shares that entire state?
And we don't.
Oh.
Never asked for it. It's not very controllable, so
Okay.
we've never really looked into it. We can.
Well, I just, particularly when we have somebody else doing this, that's managing the debt, to make sure they're doing their job. If the benchmark's 10% and we're at 8, great. If the benchmark's 4%, we're at 8, are they really doing the job they should be? I mean, they have motivation to do it, but that might make sense. So if they have, I mean, they should have it, I would think, I can't remember who the company is. Yeah, I would think they would have something. If they do this regularly, they would want to tout that kind of thing.
Ted, do you know that by chance?
I don't know that we have it anymore.
Okay.
I know this company is doing a lot better than we did when we originally had an employee taking care of that, so.
They got motivation.
Yeah.
So, okay, not that we didn't have motivation.
Yeah, no, but yeah, our collections went way up.
Okay.
Right. I move we adopt resolution 121522-10, authorizing ambulance transportation write-offs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 121522-11, amending township job descriptions.
So as you know, with any job descriptions or any new position, you guys have to approve. Any changes in job descriptions, you have to approve. This time there's a recommendation to change the fire chief's qualifications. Ted, you just want to touch on that real quick for him?
Sure. Been probably, 3-4 weeks ago. Trustee-elect Miller and I met after a meeting, discussed exactly what needed to be in the chief's job description. The previous job description was very detailed and specific. There were some things in there that really narrowed the pool for candidates. So we've expanded on that. We also added in a line about 10 years of experience, which follows the merit document.
Okay.
Any questions on the changes for him?
And Ryan, you've seen, you're good with? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody good?
The only one thing, and this is nitpicky, I know, and this may just be a sample of this, but on the revised, it has September of 19.
Yeah, it did not change the date until you approve it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Makes
change
sense.
that.
Sorry.
Approve it all.
Okay.
Change it.
Sorry.
It didn't apply.
I figured it was nitpicky.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve resolution 121522-11, resolution of the Township Board regarding the establishment of township employee classifications with descriptions of duties, education, background, skills required, and additional of job classification
Pertaining to the township.
for the chief position. So long, I forgot.
All those in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, so where are we at? Resolution 121522-12, which should be, that's great. Approving a joint financial study with Town of Avon concerning the impact of consolidation. So this resolution, we have not talked about as a board. This was simply out of discussion that occurred in the last meeting after we had a separate vote on reorganization. So discussion there led to this. I simply put it in as if we had discussion and went down that path, it was available to move forward. But I thought we as a board need to talk about this concept, thoughts, whatnot.
Yes, sir.
I can't go. Again, as we talked about last time, I think there's a lot of thoughts, emotion, feelings, differing thoughts, opinions, whatever you want to put it as to should a financial study be done first? Should it be done second? Should it be done last? Is it part of the reorganization process per the way the statute is written and all of that? But there's a lot of dissension, if you will, and in both camps all around the financial aspect of that. So when we talked about it previously, the discussion was simply, let's do the financial study. Again, I understand the pieces of, we don't know if we're going to have a mayor or this job or that job or this job's going to consolidate, which is great to have that discussion. But I think there's some bigger points that there are entities that will be impacted that need to understand this. And figuring out if we're going to have one or two of this or that or supervisor or whatever, we need to have some level of knowledge of that to have more of a unified approach to this. That's where it was born out of. That's where we kind of discussed this, and it was felt or discussed briefly that if we did that, it might get more people on the same path, on the same page, and then we can move in a more unified fashion. So that's where this was born out of. The question is this something we want to do and look at some level of an interlocal between township and town? Or do we say, hey, it is what it is, we work to collaborate in other ways? And there's a multitude of those ways. I would say we have not been particularly successful in collaborating in other ways, if you will. And I don't know if that's because the reorganization process kind of got in the way or other things got in the way, but I don't know. Those are my thoughts, concerns.
So do we want to describe specifically what this is asking for? This is asking for a financial study without moving forward with
Correct.
the proposed consolidation.
Correct.
Okay. I know that during the last board meeting, I felt like we were kind of putting the cart before the horse when it came to let's consolidate and then do the financial study. So I absolutely am all for doing a financial study, and I would be all for proposing to the town to let's move forward with this and see what comes of it.
I think in the public hearing that we had, this seemed to be the general consensus of the people who chose to spoke that evening, that they would like to see the financial study before anything else moved forward. So, with keeping their wishes, in the fore part of my mind, I would be in favor of doing this also.
Okay. Further discussion, further thoughts? Okay, Steve?
I move we adopt resolution 121522-12, resolution concerning in our local cooperation with the town of Avon regarding participating in a financial study.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is resolution 121522-13. Yeah, sorry. Which is a resolution for township board, which is surplus resolution. Gosh.
This is for park equipment, laptops and computer equipment in the Parks Department. It's in Exhibit A, the list of it.
Laura, do you want to speak on these items real quick?
It's just older equipment. Yeah, we're just not using that equipment anymore. The lifespan of that laptop has elapsed.
Run the course?
Yes.
Okay. Are you just disposing of these items?
Yeah, we're having them wiped first.
Okay.
There's a certain protocol that you have to take when you get rid of the
Right.
computer.
You're probably gonna get one from us next month, because
Okay.
we just acquired several new computers.
Okay.
But we couldn't get them on surplus.
We're getting my 12-year-old laptop.
You gotta try to buy this in surplus for your iPhone? Upgrade your iPhone from an iPhone 4. Sorry, I just had to. All right.
Did you have any questions?
No.
I will make a motion to approve resolution number 121522-13, declaring surplus equipment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last two items are public comment or wishes to be heard.
Public comment. I have a wish to be heard. This is my last board meeting, and I just want to thank everybody for all the folks that have been involved all the 12 years, some longer than others. I appreciate Dan's work as fire chief and being there, hanging in there. Appreciate the various staff members. They are the backbone and the reason that we are successful. Been fortunate to have good township boards that work with us. Prior to you guys were Doug, Suzanne, and Mike, and then Doug, Suzanne, and Fred. And they've been reelected, and I wish you and I wish Ryan success. Greg, while you're here, I want to thank you and the town for the years of working together. I've enjoyed it. One of the things I said at the debate that I did in 2010, when my predecessor and I did a debate, my closing comments were, my last comment was that I promised if I was elected, that I would leave the township better than I found it. Hopefully, I think people can say that I understood that. So, well, thank everybody, and I'll be around, and I wish you all well.
I don't know if I want to speak for everybody, but yes, thank you. I think you certainly have left the township better than you found it. And, there's not many, you look at public servants, you certainly set a standard for that. So I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure to work with you for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I'll echo the same. I just want to say much of the same. When people who've never met you, I think I always say Don's one of the last true public servants, and I truly believe that. You've been a mentor to me through this process. I'll never forget when you walked up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to run for the township board?" And I said, "You're crazy." But what a ride it's been. And I look at just what we've accomplished in the 4 years, but what you've accomplished in 12 is amazing. And Dan, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for your service. There are no words. There are no words to what an amazing team you guys are and what you've given back to this community. So thank you both.
I can't add anything to what these two have said. Great people to work with. Ready to move on to bigger and greater things.
I want to remind everybody that the retirement party for Chief Smith will be on the 28th at 2 p.m. here. So you're all invited.
Awesome. Well, I do not have any, oh,
I would like to make a public comment.
sure.
In regard to your vote and stuff on the study, obviously you don't want to understand all of them. If you're not putting the cart before the horse, remember that this vote, working through the process and stuff in the statute, after everything is approved by DLGF, it requires you then to have a second vote to approve. And so the first vote just actually starts the process. I would encourage or tell you, of course, I'm sure that you know, that the study, without doing the things in the statute, is wasting taxpayers' dollars, because the study that actually gets approved through DLGF must accomplish the steps in the statute, which specifically means the items about determining the level of services, the department's debt, numerous things, and how they are handled. Specifically, I'm referring to Indiana Code 36-1.5-4-18 down to subparagraph D. It says an estimated effect of the proposed reorganization on taxpayers and each of the political subdivisions to which the proposed reorganization applies, including the expected tax rates, tax levies, expenditure levels, service levels, annual debt service payments in those political subdivisions. Subparagraph 2, a description of the planned services to be provided in the reorganization, political subdivision, and the method or methods of financing the planned services. The fiscal impact must, and it goes on to list several items. I can tell you that I can take a financial study, and without setting those assumptions, I can make the study come out however you want by how I adjust the assumptions. And so if you do the study without these assumptions, you're wasting taxpayers' dollars, because the actual one, in order for it to move forward under the statute, is going to require these items to be done. Remember, the first vote, then the second vote by both entities, both the Avon Town Council and you, before it goes out to then a public referendum vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment or wishes to be heard? Okay, if not, we will adjourn effective 3:52. Next meeting will be the reorganization meeting.
Motion for adjournment.
Oh, sorry, I skipped that. We'll meet January 3rd for the Township Board reorganization meeting at 3 o'clock here. Just need a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn at 3:53 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.